I am a Tomb Raider fan. Been one since I was 7, I think. It was likely the summer before I started second grade. I was at my grandparents' house, and while rummaging through my uncle's CD collection, discovered this bootleg CD with a bunch of random games on it. One of those games happened to be Tomb Raider 2, and that's where it all started. I think back then the real pull for me was getting to play as a girl. Even before Tomb Raider, I mainly played Barbie games, with my personal favorite being Secret Agent Barbie. As shallow as it sounds, that alone was really enough for my gay ass to become invested in the games. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. With that said though, I have since come to appreciate the greater package these games offered. The environments, exploration, platforming, puzzles, traps, enemy variety, all that stuff is also really cool and only adds to why this series became my favorite growing up. So yeah, I have great love and enjoyment for the series. There is a piece to the franchise, however, that I feel often gets overlooked. Arguably one of the most important contributions in my opinion. And that, my friend, is the topic of today's video. Tomb Raider's very own level editor. I'll be covering its history, where you can access these free custom levels, and my own personal thoughts about it all. Before I get started though, I would like to provide a disclaimer. I personally am not part of the level editing scene or an active participant by any means. I've never built any custom TR levels, and I'll even admit that I haven't played as much as I like to. Having said that, I haven't really seen a video on YouTube delving into its history, so I figured why not make one? If you are an active participant from TR's level editing scene, however, and happen to watch this video, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm probably not going to have all the intimate details surrounding this topic, so any further insight or clarifications from folks actually involved in the community would very much be appreciated. Alright, disclaimer over, let's get into it. The year is 2000. At the time, Tomb Raider was still being developed by Core Design, and their fifth mainline entry, Tomb Raider Chronicles, would release in November of that year. In an interview with producer Mike Schmidt, he mentions how this entry will mark the end of the technology they've been using to develop their games, with a separate team working on a different game, one that'll bring Tomb Raider to the next generation. Because of this, the team at Core thought it would be a good idea to give back to the fans by essentially offering them the tools needed to create their own levels. In a separate interview with Gary LaRochelle and Rebecca Sheeran, we get more details concerning what this level editor is all about. For one, this was basically what the team used to create Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. This is pretty important to note since that presented some limitations for the editor. Lara's model couldn't be modified beyond her default TR4 appearance. Enemies, items, and weapons from past games wouldn't be included due to differences in development tools. Even the vehicles from The Last Revelation wouldn't appear due to difficulties with making them work properly. Beyond the limitations, however, is still a really cool editor that allows you to create and use your own textures, apply lighting effects and objects, build your own rooms, all that good stuff. Very informative interview overall. Definitely recommend giving it a read. Every article or source I cite will be in the description below. And so, Tomb Raider Chronicles was released, with the PC version including a second disc for the level editor. fans were finally able to get their hands on the tools needed to make their own dream levels. However, we have to remember that the level editor on its own carried with it those aforementioned limitations. As a response to those limitations, fans created their own solutions. The first of these involved third-party tools to add more functionality to the level editor, such as building your own objects and extracting them from other TR games or custom levels. There's probably a lot more out there, but these are the ones I came across on the WikiRaider site. The second, and far more ambitious solution, was creating your own level editor. DXTRE 3D is one such level editor, developed by Turbo Pascal in 2005 with help from other contributors in the level editing scene. So the limitation of being constrained to the last Revelation engine? Not a problem here, because you can now create levels based on all 5 games. That in addition to other quality of life improvements. And that wasn't the only fan-created level editor either. 2 years later, we'd get the introduction of the next generation level editor by Folmann, which provided additional features and functionality. And, as of today, we see Tomb Editor by Monty being the editor of choice for many builders, with its UI, stability, and workflows being improved considerably and compatible with modern computers. There's also an accompanying engine in the works called Tomb Engine, which is basically a new engine type to make levels in. I've been following Tomb Engine for a while now, and I think the stuff they're cooking is really exciting. If you're curious, I'll post a link to the website below so you can check them out. So, in terms of history, I feel like that's a fairly brief summation of the inception and evolution of the level editor over the years. Certainly not the full story though, which leads me to discussing the custom levels themselves and where you can find them. And the answer to that is pretty straightforward: TRLE.net and trcustoms.org. Now, TRLE.net has been around for a while. I can't say for sure if it's the OG hosting site for custom TR levels, but for as long as I've been familiar with level building, I've known this site. TR Customs, meanwhile, is basically the successor of TRLE.net, being created with the purpose of preserving custom levels so that none of it gets lost to time, in the event something were to happen to TRLE.net. And you certainly have a bunch of options to choose from, cause as of the writing of this script, there have been 3,674 entries to date, which is absolutely insane. You're also able to personalize your search with different filters too: genre, tags, what engine it used, the rating it received by reviewers, if it had a walkthrough, all that good stuff. So, with all that said, I think it's time I ramble about my own personal thoughts and feelings concerning TRLEs in general. Certainly wouldn't have made a video about this in the first place if I was simply indifferent. And this is kind of a basic response, but their existence makes me really happy. I grew up playing Tomb Raider and loved the games, so to see Lara go on all these new, varied, creative adventures made by such talented people gives me the biggest smile. And sometimes it's not even Lara either. In Postmortem by Dro Britsky, you play as Janice, the friendly prostitute from France and shining star of Angel of Darkness, who has 10 minutes to tidy up her apartment before her dashing date, Bernard, arrives. In The Perils Ahead by Kasem, you play as Warner von Croy, Lara's mentor and rival from the last Revelation, who pays the Croft Manor a visit to steal back the iris from Lara, encountering horrors beyond comprehension in the process. In Pierre's Christmas Adventure by Mbog, you play as Pierre, a French homosexual from Tomb Raider 1 and Chronicles who is preparing a special gift for his one true love, Larson. And yes, even Barbie gets her own chance to shine with Barbie in the Christmas City by Shababab. And these examples I just mentioned aren't just me being random for the sake of it. It truly showcases just how creative and fun some of these levels are. The sky really is the limit. There's no telling what you're gonna get. And one of my favorite examples of this is actually the Witch's Tea Party by Clona. Now listen, I in a million years would have never expected a crossover between Tomb Raider and Umineko no Naku Koroni. That is just... I was gagged. Completely. And I really want to play it too. The very hard difficulty concerns me because I suck at games, but I still want to play it just for the sheer novelty alone of this being real. Besides the individual levels themselves, there's also other general things I find cool about the TRLE community. For example, there's this Back to Basics challenge where builders have to create a single level with about an hour's worth of gameplay using only the supplied texture and WOD set for that year. Very much a fun and competitive activity which results in a lot of great levels. Also, if you're someone that likes Christmas, then you are in for a treat because there are so many Christmas levels. A lot of them come from the Advent Calendar series, with the Hunt for Esmeralda by Agent XP being one I'd like to shout out specifically. I just love the general atmosphere of the village and thought that Lara celebrating Christmas with inserts of real-life level builders was really cute. If there's one final thing I'd like to mention though, it would have to be TRLE.net's Hall of Fame section. As the name implies, this is the place where builders of the most critically acclaimed levels get recognized. And maybe it's just me, but something about seeing everyone commemorated here is just the most wholesome thing. Now look, I don't know these people or the lives they currently lead. Some of them probably have long since moved on from level building and Tomb Raider as a whole. But in any case, that doesn't change the fact that these folks really set the standard for level building, inspiring so many new and up-and-coming builders for years to come. There's just something special about this niche community sharing their own vision of Tomb Raider with one another and giving us some truly iconic and memorable custom levels. And this is why I personally believe that the level editor's inclusion all those years ago was one of the most important contributions to the franchise as a whole. It allows fans to take control of their destiny, create their own Tomb Raider. No matter what direction the franchise goes or whether it'll even be recognizable in the next few years, one can at least take solace in the fact that there's a passionate, talented, creative community out there that seeks to preserve that classic formula in their own creations. That very same formula that made us love Tomb Raider all those years ago. Also, can we give this diva her flowers? Simply Purple by Shiva is indisputably the best custom level of all time, and I will be blocking all who disagree. Okay, I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had fun making it, and I will see you in the next one.